second, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Jen here today from Berlin, and I'm here with speaking to Neha, who's in New York City. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Well, thank you so much. So Neha, who the hell are you?
Thank you for having me, Jen. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure. I'm the co-founder and CMO at Vertoe, which is a marketplace, and we connect anybody looking to safely store their bags, items to nearby local shops or local businesses that have space. So we basically unlock the unused space in the society and try to help people store their bags.
Yep. As a
So
frequent traveler, I know this pain, so thank you for doing this.
we went through this ourselves.
Is that how you came up with the idea? Like what kind of made you guys decide to jump into this?
So lots of things. So obviously our backgrounds were very relevant. We went through this problem together. So me and my co-founder, who's also my husband, was a
Like
product
that,
manager. Yes. So we were on a multi-city road trip in the west, in the West Coast, and LA was our last stop. When we checked out of our Airbnb is when we realized that we'd have no place to put our luggage, and we had the whole day to explore LA beaches, and basically the day was ruined because we were stuck with the bags and we had no place to go. And we, after that scarring experience, there were just two thoughts that were really bothering us. One was, do other people go through this problem, or is it just us? Or are there any current solutions if people are going through this problem? Is when we came back and we did multiple research. We talked to a lot of travelers, a lot of people, and we realized that out of 2.1 billion trips that were taken in that year, 30% people went through this problem, which is
Wow.
a huge number. And even if you take a conservative estimate, at least we were talking about 200 million travelers in US alone, and which is again like a huge market. And then regarding currency, unless you have like a car or a hotel that is conveniently located, you will have to do a mad rush, between your hotel and between the airport. So that's when, and also like, there are some conventional storage units, but because they have such a high operational cost, that doing a short-term storage will not be conducive for them. So very early on, we realized that if we want to do this, we have to not own our space and go the marketplace route, which would be not to own any of these spaces and like make it an instant availability. Plus, our backgrounds sort of complemented each other. Like, I'm a marketer for 10 years, having worked with brands like Lindt Chocolates, Penguin Random House, and Sid was a product manager at Google. So we were like, okay, let's join forces. And that's how we came up with this idea.
That's fantastic. And kind of what were the steps then to, I guess, test it out? Like, what was your first MVP?
Okay, so good question. So it's important, like we were immigrants, and at that point we started this as a weekend experiment. And because we knew that we're not going to own any of the spaces, we figured that local businesses at tourist locations and near transit spots, let's talk to them, and they could be like our first pilot. It just made sense. And we spoke to them in New York, and we started with 5 stores that believed in this idea, that were facing this, like in the sense that people would come and ask them, but nobody wanted the liability.
Yeah.
We started them as our playground, and then we started this new website, which was honestly nothing like what it looks now. It was a bare bones structure, and we started like a simple paid campaign on search. And like as a weekend experiment, it just like started giving us traction. And within 6 months, we had like our first 100 customers who, like, in July 2017, it was this first set of 100 customers with amazing reviews on Yelp and Google, gave us a lot of motivation and a validation that this is probably something we should do full time and invest more time in.
Exciting. And at what point did you decide to get involved with Techstars?
Okay, so again, like after July, when we started getting this traction, both of us quit our jobs. And when we quit our jobs, and even like going deeper into the problem, we realized a few things, that we felt a gap of not having that strong network in the US,
Yeah.
and we were very specific about some of the goals that we wanted to meet during this journey before Techstars happened. So we knew that we wanted a strong network, we wanted a set of mentors, somebody to guide us, and we also wanted someone to just like help us refine the business, help us fundraise. So when all these thoughts started coming, we applied it to Techstars, and we were so fortunate to get into it in their winter batch of 2018. And honestly, that has been one of the best decisions we took.
Incredible. And why would you recommend Techstars to other startups?
Okay, so I would say that Techstars is one of the best. Techstars New York specifically is one of the best accelerator program. They have an amazing team. They are very hands-on, and if you have specific goals in your mind, they will make sure that you meet those. They give individual attention to every startup. For us, they not only unlocked this amazing network, they helped us refine the business. They helped us become more KPI focused. They helped us, they introduced us to so many amazing, amazing mentors. And obviously, by the end of it, they helped us fundraise also. So we just closed our round of 1.85 million with their help. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And what are the things you think that people should be wary of before getting involved with a program like Techstars?
It is very intense.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I felt we didn't know and didn't realize was that it's like an intense boot camp where you're not only expected to attend all the workshops, attend all these sessions, but also grow week on week. It's like a constant pressure, but it helps you come into a mindset where you can do more faster, which is their mantra, and then make sure that you learn that. So I think that was like one of the things that if people are prepared, mentally prepared, they'll be able to go through this. And another thing that I really want to recommend other startups out there is that one thing that all of us tend to ignore is our health and our well-being. This is something that I wish I knew before, and you should take care of that from day one. Like, do not ignore your health, because if you take care of your health, your productivity is much better. You'll be able to do a lot more. So
Yeah, definitely. And look, this is something that I normally ask towards the end, but mental health isn't something that is discussed that often.
Yes.
I guess, how do you make sure that you are keeping yourself in check as well as your team?
So this is something that is very important for me personally. So I am a meditator. Like, I meditate for an hour every day, and
That's
honestly,
great.
that really, really helps me.
Yeah.
And Sid tries to work out and do some kind of yoga, and every time, because I do it every day, but every time he does it, he feels a stark difference. We ensure to keep the practice, of talking about well-being within our company, and we have a very open discussion about that. That's an important part of our culture.
Yeah, fantastic. And then how have you, I guess, kept that culture? I mean, from day one when it's just you and your husband to then obviously as you're adding people, how do you replicate that?
Well, so far we were able to do that. We have a stellar team, by the way. Like, we've been very lucky with that. We have close to 14 people in our team now, and everyone is so driven, so motivated, and they really believe in this idea. So one part of the whole culture is that they are really driven and they're wanting to do this, and the other part is obviously it just comes naturally to take care of them. Because they are the most valuable resource. It's people who build businesses, and it's it's just like I'm driven to take care of them, both Sid and I. So yeah, that's like an important thing, and I hope they're happy.
If anyone watches this.
Yeah.
That's great. And so then I guess from now taking on this round of investment, what are the plans for the business? How do you plan on scaling this?
So the number one goal to get into fundraising was obviously expansion, because that's important for us. We are currently we closed our fundraise in October, and we're already in 11 cities, more than 200 locations, and we're growing rapidly. That's one of the big plans that we want to do through fundraise. And yeah, I mean, every effort will go into that. So the team is growing for that. So that's the main goal.
Yeah, definitely. And what are some of the unit economics or key metrics that you guys are tracking to understand whether your model is working and on track?
Revenue is obviously number one, and for us, it's also average value. Every customer who's buying from us, and obviously like conversions, because it's an online business. We are very metric driven, thanks to Techstars and our backgrounds also. So yeah, I mean, conversions are also very important for us. Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, definitely. And what are some of the tools that you use to measure all these things?
Well, Google Analytics is the first one, and we also tend to get deeper into our individual dashboards that we have, for marketing. Yes.
Definitely. And what are how do you ensure that you're continually ahead of the curve? Is there anyone, I guess, mentors that you have, or you're reading books or podcasts that you'd recommend?
It's actually a mix of all. I would like to give credit to my mentors for that, because mentors and investors also, not just mentors. Like we have an amazing set of investors who are again like very hands-on, and they're always willing to help us. So we all, like whenever there's a big decision, we obviously involve them, and they're all very helpful. And we read books, we read articles, and we test and iterate. Like Lean Startup is one of the books that, again, like I would highly recommend, because you need to be lean when you're like starting off, and it's very important to continue testing and then learning and building on that. So that's like really important. That's what we try to do.
Yeah, definitely. And so then for I guess that testing phase, and now trying to, I guess, get to the multinational scale phase.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to take to get the company there?
Honestly, like we're still discussing that, so I wouldn't want to talk about that right now.
No, of course. And what is the process that the team takes then to come up with that strategy?
The expansion, you mean?
Yeah.
What is the process?
Yeah. So do you guys do like a brainstorming session and then kind of refine from there, or how do you approach something like this as a team?
Oh yes, obviously, like we're very fortunate to get a lot of inbound requests. So when we talk about expansion, there are multiple parameters that we consider, which one of them is obviously inbound requests that is coming in. And generally, like, how many people are looking for such a service in individual cities. So we do a lot of research. Someone from the team goes to those cities and like does a survey. So it's an important discussion we have before getting into individual cities. And now that we are in 11 cities, it's been like a very thoughtful decision, and not like a brainless expansion that we wanted to get into. We want our marketplace and our partners to make money. That's the goal, why anybody would be interested in participating. So that's why we have to be very thoughtful about which cities we go into and who we onboard as a partner, because they need to make money.
Yeah, no, awesome. And with I guess building a marketplace, all the challenges, chicken and egg, and trying to scale are obviously very difficult.
Yes.
What do you wish you knew before you started?
Good question. For the marketplace, right? I wish we knew that operations could be a challenge, because like in our business model, for example, These stores are owned and operated by someone else, and they have their own business. So it's kind of challenging sometimes to get them streamlined into the processes till they see results.
Yeah.
So if we knew, we could have just probably train them better. But again, like it's a chicken and egg problem. You don't have resources to train them. So we're trying to get to a point where they are like taking ownership, because it's again like it's for their benefit.
Yeah.
They're making, and you won't believe, like some of these practices have helped us find one of these store owner who's also an investor. He's our angel investor because he believes in the idea so much.
Have you ever considered crowdfunding? I mean, we've seen a lot of startups or marketplaces in particular in Europe. So whether it's Stashby in London or ShareTribe, who's based in the EU, where they've actually crowdsourced their next round, even Urban Massage actually from London, their next round.
No, we did not, because again, like our thought before getting into fundraising was, especially for the seed round, that we wanted strategic partners over just funds, So we wanted that kind of value. So,
and what did that process look like? Approaching people, pitching. Can you talk me through that?
Actually, I wish Sid was here because he ran that process like thoroughly. But
that's okay.
I mean, I would the kind of process that we went through was obviously first you have to create a list of people that are relevant for you. Like not every investor is relevant for you. So you have to be very thoughtful about who you're approaching and what your pitch is going to be. And it's a very tedious, long process because everyone is interviewing you to reject you first. It's like that. So there's a lot of resilience that you need to have. And again, like that's one of the things we wished to have known before. So it can get very draining, but at the same time, if you're mentally prepared for the process, you can just keep refining, take feedback constructively. And don't get offended. Like all this feedback, if you take it objectively, it'll only help you refine your business. So that was one of the things that we consciously followed. We were taking the feedback. It honestly did not take us a lot of time. Like 3 or 4 months after the Extras program, we were able to sort of close our round.
Oh, great. And are there any books or podcasts that you listen to that have really helped with trying to making these sorts of decisions and coming up with these processes?
I remember Sid used to read Do More Faster. Again, that's one of the Techstar books.
Yeah.
And I personally love to read more about, I'm very passionate about marketing and creating that space in consumers' minds. So right now I'm reading Contagious by Jonah Berger. And that's a really interesting, cool book. It's one of the bestsellers. And again, as I said, well-being is important for me. So I tend to read a lot of books on spirituality and meditation. It just keeps me sane. So this book, Inner Engineering by Sadhguru, is something I recommend because these are the tools that entrepreneurs can use to take care of themselves, or anybody for that
matter. Cool. And are there any startups, or I guess, what are you seeing in the marketplace space? Obviously marketplaces are changing and evolving constantly. There's a lot of consolidation between, even across countries. So Rover acquired Dog Buddy in the UK. You've seen OneFlare acquire Tidy Me in Australia. Is there anything in particular that you're seeing or any trends in the marketplace space?
I don't know. I think we should skip this.
That one, no worries.
I don't know what to answer for this because we do look at Airbnb and Uber, as the case studies, and these are the people we want to learn from.
Yeah.
We don't think about an exit strategy right now. We really want this to become a massive business. Do you want to look up this question again, and I could probably answer in this way?
Yeah, of course. Maybe should I ask what I'll just ask you generically about what do you see as marketplace trends and what's the end game for you? Is that better?
End game,
Being
sure.
to be
I
acquired.
think,
Yeah.
we can talk about how big we want to make this as a business. And
Exactly.
yeah,
See, you know what you're doing. Okay. So can you tell me about any marketplace trends that you're seeing and a bit more about what your end game is?
Sure. So I think that for us, like we really look up to Airbnb and how Uber have really created this new trend of marketplaces. Before this, you couldn't even think about running such a huge business without owning a property or before without owning a single black card,
Yes.
So having them set that trend helps us because again, like trust becomes a really important factor when it comes to marketplaces. So one of the trends that I'm seeing is that trust sort of is growing. People are more open about opening their own spaces and allowing strangers to use their personal space, in terms of vacation rental car or like space, for example. So that gives us a lot of push. And also, we want to make this a really massive business. It's a real need that we believe we are solving. And we want to have a world where you can unlock your unused space, monetize it, and also from the consumer side, you should have an alternative to store your personal bags, items, and not lug around within 5 minutes of wherever you are. That's our goal. That's where we want to reach eventually.
Fantastic. And is that a combination of whether it's restaurants or actual hotels or obviously convenience stores and things like that, or what's the typical demographic?
Right now, since we started our MVP with local businesses, it's the major mix of the supply side is obviously most local businesses, but it's also restaurants. We have some hotels also. So anybody who is open to opening their space, without really, they don't really have to do anything. It's very easy for the supply side of people because we do all the work. We send the people, all they have to do is just like book in 3 minutes and put their bags and partners are happy. So it's a very easy sort of operation.
Yeah, fantastic. And who would be some of the dream partnerships that you'd love to, I guess, help scale this business?
Well, Airbnb would be ideal because most of our customers are coming from, because like vacation rental doesn't have a concierge. So most of our customers are coming from vacation rental, and you'll be surprised to know that so many people are coming from hotels just because of the location proximity. Just because there's a single hotel and they have to make a mad rush from the airport to the hotel is why they're using our service.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. And then from where you are today, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years' time?
As I said, we would like to get closer to our vision, which is
achievable in that time.
Yeah, to become this company where you don't have to think about lugging, you don't have to think about having this baggage, on you, and you should have your personal space where you could just go and put your bags, equipments, anything.
Yeah, fantastic. And how can the community support you?
We would love to spread the word around. I wish, even business people, even entrepreneurs, when you're making one-day trips to places, instead of booking a hotel and spending all that money, just rest your stuff at our place, at our stores, and you can just quickly access your stuff really fast. So I would love to spread the word around. And
what's the website? Where do they go?
What's that?
What's the website? Where do they go?
So it's called Vertoe.com, www.vertoe.com. And the booking just takes less than 3 minutes. All you have to do is just put the address where you want to go, the date and the pickup time, and you can just book with a click. And it's mobile friendly, so it's much faster on mobile.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for telling us a bit about your story and where you guys are going. And we look forward to supporting you. And I'm sure we're all going to be putting our suitcases in a space with you guys.
Thank you so much, and we love feedback. So happy to take any feedback, any criticism that you want.
Well, how can people reach out to you then?
You can write to us at support@vertoe.com.
Fantastic.
Support@vertoe.com, or if you want to reach out to me, it's neha@vertoe.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Jan. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thanks.
Bye.